Hi guys, welcome to Awful Creepypasta, take number 7. My name may be Kyle the Killer, but it's not because I kill. It's to remind me of the suffering Helium put me through. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'll start from when I first met him. This is Kyle the Killer. Meeting Jeff the Killer. I had just left my friend's home. Her name is Jane Arkansas. Yep.
Arkansas.
She had told us about something she witnessed. The 3 kids who attacked some kid and his brother. I ignored. I wish I wouldn't have. As I stood outside the house, I saw Jeff's brother being hauled off in a police car. I had pushed it off and walked home. I lived a few houses down from Jane's. I entered my house, putting my headphones down on the table, headed up to my room. My parents weren't home yet, so I was home alone. I sat on the bed, turning on the TV, flickering through the channels till I found the news. They were talking about a robbery or something.
A robbery or something.
Yeah,
okay.
whatever. I ignored it. And
he just ignores everything.
I
apparently.
ignored it and turned it back off, laying down. The next morning, I had walked out of my room and headed out, grabbing my headphones and wrapped the longer wire behind my neck and let it hang on my chest alongside the shorter wire. That was needlessly complicated. These headphones were like my signature part of whatever I wore. Or at least this is just some kid being like, this is some kid being like, my friends talked about the way that I wear my headphones, so I'm gonna include it in my creepypasta.
It sounds like that.
These headphones were like my signature part of whatever I wore, or at least that's what some friends have said about them. When I had reached school and walked into class, I saw Jeff sitting in the back alone. I decided to be friendly and walk up and introduce myself.
Sorry.
I decided to be friendly and walk up and introduce myself to him. Hello, my name is Kyle. He just sat there looking down. Who could blame him? If I had a sibling who went to juvie, I'd be a little annoyed. You didn't even know he went to juvie. How would you know that? I'd be a little annoyed too. But that doesn't mean juvie.
Yeah,
I walked away and took my seat.
Goodbye.
Then left. Pulling out my notebook and taking notes. After school, I had brought my note. I had put my headphones on my ears.
Like on the little.
And played my music. Headed towards Jane's house, running into Jeff and accidentally bumping into him. Sorry, didn't see you. It's alright, but don't do it again. I nodded in reply. Like I said earlier, I'm Kyle. I'm Jeff. Well, it's nice to meet you. He nodded. Made a weird look in my face. No, he nodded and walked off as I went back on my way to Jane's house.
I'm just imagining that being like a voice in 8 Crazy Nights.
Yeah.
Or like an Adam Sandler film.
Talking with Jane.
I had told Jane that I met Jeff earlier
I had told Jane that I had met Jeff earlier that day, to which she was a bit irritated because of the whole attack incident.
No period.
Kyle, listen to me. Please don't associate yourself with him. He could snap again, like when the 3 attacked him.
I nodded.
Alright, I'll try to do that. He scares me a bit, to be honest with you. Just then, we heard the commotion next door at the kids' party. Who said that?
Okay, it's you. It's him. Nice.
What the hell? Was that a gunshot? That actually hurt my neck.
I was gonna say it's you, but you voiced both of them. Alright.
I yelled, going over to the window overlooking the party. Jane pulled me back so that I wouldn't be seen if they had happened to look up. She had looked out the window, but she didn't look too far. Just enough that she can see without being spotted, and saw that Jeff was fighting the 3 boys. They had reached the bathroom. Jeff had bleached.
Wait a minute.
Jeff had bleached the anime in his face and was set on fire. I freaked, of course. I mean, he was on fire. After a while, the fire was put out, and he was taken to the hospital.
Coming, Kyle.
So the narrative just randomly switched back to Jeff the Killer.
Yeah.
After a while, he was released from the hospital, and his brother from juvie. His family invited Jane's family over for dinner. I was nervous when I heard that she was going over. I didn't want my closest friend to get hurt by him. After all, he was able to take on those 3, even with guns. He kind of lost, but whatever.
Yeah. He killed
A
them.
while had passed, and I looked out my window to see a bright light, almost like a fire coming
No,
from
sorry, a
inside his house.
burst light.
A bird light. I ran out of the house, rushing over to make sure everything was all right, but I was too late. I had found that Jeff had murdered his family and Jane's. They all had the same thing on their face. That damn white face with the carved-in smile.
The carved.
He had it on him, too.
Hunt.
I looked over and saw that he had Jane tied to a chair. How could he see this? And he lit her on fire. I started to panic. He had set Jane on fire!
Yes, you
I was
established this.
truly paralyzed in fear. I sat there as he did that to her. He murdered her. And I was helpless!
Why were you helpless?
A while later, I had ran away from there, not even thinking to go in to check on her. Gee, what a good friend I was.
G. With J.
Yeah. Showing up on the screen now. I sat in my room, shaking in fear. I heard a crash downstairs. I got up and crept my way to my door to look out. I couldn't get a good view from my room inside of my house.
Huh.
So I moved closer to the stairs. Boy, am I glad we didn't have railings. We had little walls in their place, so I can peek over and hide easily.
That was so much wrong.
I crouched behind it and peeked over. It was him. That damn face of his! Jeff had burst into my home. That's not correct.
He busted the door.
I quickly ducked back down as my parents were down there. I got paranoid because of it. What could I do? All the knives were downstairs.
You're gonna kill
I
him.
heard my mom screaming as my dad tried taking him down. I don't know why, but that is amazingly funny.
Yes.
Oh, no. Honey, it's a 13-year-old. I'll get him. No, Braille.
Braille? Braille?
But he stabbed him in the stomach, causing him to fail.
No, Braille.
He turned his attention to my mother and knocked her down, tying her up. He proceeded to do the same thing he did to his family and search the house for others such as me.
How would you...
He made his way upstairs as I hid in the bathroom with the door locked. I picked up a glass bottle in the bathroom and held it by the neck of it, waiting for him to burst in before I smash it. Come on, you son of a bitch. I whispered to myself, waiting for him to burst in. A few minutes later, I hear footsteps. They're right outside. I hear the doorknob jiggle.
That's not...
Yeah, I know, I'm not even acknowledging it.
Yeah.
He knew it was locked and that someone was most likely in there. I silenced myself completely. He rammed the door a bit, and it budged a little. I was waiting for him to try and strike. He bursts in,
Yes.
and I smashed the
Payoff.
glass bottle on the counter and kicked him in the knee, making him fall. But he caught himself and grabbed my arm tight, making me drop the bottle.
Why
Never let
resist?
go, Kyle! No.
Why resist? Don't you want to be beautiful?
He said to me with his creepy carved-in smile. What are you talking about? I saw what you did to your family and mine, and what you did to her!
I yelled back.
All I did was make them beautiful.
Like me. He said, starting to laugh. Ooh, 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 ooh,
Dies from a heart attack. Jeff has a stroke. As I woke up and looked around.
I found myself tied up to the chair, and my parents on the other side of the room, dead. Jeff was looking at me. He had a matchbox in his hand.
I'm imagining like a matchbox.
Ah! Look at this! Ah!
Imagining a matchbox car in his hand.
Just lodged his
I knew immediately what he would do to me.
Look who's finally awake.
Why are you doing this, Jeff?
No.
I asked. Because everyone deserves to be beautiful. He laughed.
You need to use your Heath Ledger, Jeff Goldblum voice.
What the hell are you talking about? You don't make people beautiful by burning their face off.
Oh, it's what happened to me. and
By
I want-
burning their face
It's what happened.
off.
The eyes. No.
It's coming off.
Well, it's what...
What happened to me? And I want to spread it to others! He said, walking closer, lighting the match. You back away from me now. I yelled At him?
You're no.
You're a no. I can't read it.
Positron!
Positition.
This is positron.
It says positition.
Yo, we know positition.
You're a no positition to tell me what to do.
Were you just doing like a Christopher Watt?
No,
What's that?
I said, you ain't no positition.
He threw the match on my face and burnt me the same way he did Jane. Gee.
I cried out in pain
Oh, that was the...
as my face was burning,
Yes, it
turning
was.
into the same color as Jane's, black. The fire eventually went out, but not after causing major burns to my face.
I didn't
Really,
die.
I struggled to get free for a few minutes before getting out of the rope restraints. Jeff had left. Wow, not man enough to even finish the damn job.
I don't think you can talk because your face is...
I didn't even manage to finish the job.
What are you even saying at this point?
And burned! And my face is burned!
I headed
to the door and opened it. No one there. I walked out and headed to the hospital to get treated for the burns. As I got checked in, they took me to a room and started treating me. After making me pass out from that gas.
They walked into a gas chamber.
I woke up to find that my head was wrapped in bandages with only my eyes being able to see the light of day while the rest of my body could see the light of night. I looked around to find that I was in a hospital bed. I overheard a couple nurses talking about a patient. They said the name Arkansas. My eyes widened at the name as I completely forgot that it was the name of a state.
My eyes widened at the name as I called over one of the nurses.
Yes, what is it?
Can I please go and see the Arkansas patient?
Sorry, but she can't have visitor is right
Shut
now.
up!
I'll let you know what
All right,
you can see her though.
just one last thing.
What is it?
Does your first name have to be changed? Yummy.
And is her face off too?
I had my assurance that she was alive! But what was her condition? Critical? Or cat boy?
Huh? Doesn't actually say that, luckily.
All I could do for now was hope she was
Wish it
alright. I laid back, closing my eyes, thinking about Toontown. No, I'm just kidding.
Alex?
I closed my eyes, trying to fall asleep. If you could find this picture, put it on the screen.
I will.
It blew.
This is his face, I just noticed it.
I'm a ghost. Let's hope you can find the picture, because we'll
I
just seem
will.
insane if we can't.
Okay,
Later that day, I could remove my bandages. After a few hours, a doctor came in to remove my bandages. He just said that. I thanked him and asked him when I can leave the hospital. He told me when I'm ready. I walked about an
Use
hour.
the doctor
I waited about an hour before leaving. Headed to my house and going in. My parents' corpse is gone. I went into
No
the kitchen
police.
and grabbed a pair of switchblades. I had turned the safeties on, that's not how that works, and put them in my pocket. I grabbed my headphones and put them around my neck, letting them hang there. After walking to my room, I looked down, grabbing my phone, putting it in my pocket, hooking the headphones into it.
I think this person mistaked character traits for headphones.
I left the house, heading back down to the hospital to see Jane. As I entered the hospital, I waited for the employee to head to the desk. One arrived after a few minutes. She gave me a visitor pass, and I was on to Jane's room. When I arrived, she was awake. I walked in and sat down, and she looked at me.
Oh my God! Jeff got you
Big
too!
blades.
She said in horror. Yes. And my family. I need to find him. And finish this. Please don't go and get yourself killed, she said, looking downwards. I won't. I'm not easy to kill.
Well, Jeff's not very easy to kill either.
Yes, he is!
Or is he?
She looked over at me and shook her head. Doesn't mean you're not gonna be reckless. She said he's coming back for me, but I don't know when. She said, looking back.
She sang it. It was weird.
Listen to me. I will not allow him to do that. He will pay for what he did to us.
Making us
Our families.
Miles.
And
Sorry. Families.
Alright, I quit. You read the rest.
Miles. And I can't do one. All the other victims of his. I said with determination. She looked at me and said, "Yeah, he must pay." The hospital announced that visiting hours were now over. I looked at her. "Don't worry, Jane. We'll talk tomorrow. Do no evil," I said as I got up and
Do
left.
no evil? Did you actually say that?
No. I just remember,
Oh, yeah.
I said as I got up and left the hospital going home. I laid in my bed looking at the ceiling, thinking to myself,
Nice bed.
how am I going to find and beat him? A couple spaces for some reason. I turned the TV. I turned it, but I didn't actually turn it on. But the news was talking about a killing that happened a few cities away. The killings played out exactly like one of Jeff's murders. That son of a bitch!
What?
I yelled, punching the wall. He got more. I sat up and looked around.
Nothing on the screen.
It's just dumb.
I sat up and
Okay.
looking around my room. I placed my switchblades to the side and my headphones next to them. Laying back, due to sleep.
Due to sleep.
What does that mean?
Due to
That
sleep.
doesn't make any sense.
like Jeff has go to sleep, he has due to sleep. I had no nightmares this night, except my horrible English. I woke up the next morning, grabbing my weapons and headphones, putting them all back on, heading outside. Jane was there to my surprise. I looked at her.
Her eyes fully black lipstick.
I walked up to her, ... We knew we had to find Jeff.
We knew he had teeth in Jeff before he found us.
The end.
Categories. Add category. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of Awful Creepypasta. Is there any comments?
Nothing about the fan miles, nope.
Okay. Well, thank you for listening to this edition of Awful Creepypasta, which is a Jeff Friday. So this is actually be going up the day after I air the recording time.
Well, just remember, go to your fan miles or whatever.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Awful Creepypasta. Join us next time, because next time we're going to be reading a very special story. I'll see you next time on Awful Creepypasta. Bye-bye.
Well, that was...
I'd like to take his face off.